Hi, I'm Sabrina. I'm 24 years old, and I'm just here to talk about lupus. And it basically, yeah, just my story, just hoping to spread some awareness and maybe inform you about lupus and what it looks like and how it presents itself in different people. So before I had lupus, I had no idea really what it was. I kind of understood that it was an immune disorder, or disease, but I didn't really know exactly what it was. Um, and for me, no one in my family had it. I just knew maybe a couple of celebrities, but I had no real idea of what it was. So I remember, like, when was this? In February or January times 2017, I just remember feeling really under the weather. I'm an athlete also, so I'm always quite aware of like my health and how I feel. I'm quite conscious of everything. But it was really weird for me to feel, let's say, like sick or ill or in anything. And I remember it started off with a chest infection. I said, okay, time of the year, winter might be normal for that time of the year. Go to the doctors, got put on a course of antibiotics, and the chest infection cleared up. Then it was a fever, and then, okay, that's odd, but you get over a fever, nothing really to be concerned about. And then I had an ear infection, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, I shouldn't be feeling as unwell as I am. Went to doctors again, and I just remember saying, this is without even knowing anything really. I just said, I just think my immune system is suppressed. That's what I thought. So yeah, back and forth with the doctors, had some blood tests, was put on more courses of antibiotics to clear up the infections that were occurring at the time. And then I didn't have nothing with my skin at the beginning. And I went on holiday with my girls in July, and that was a lot of sunbathing, exposure to the sun. And it sounds really bad, but I don't know if it is certain with Black people or not, but we tend not to use sun cream anyway. So I didn't really have any education really around sun cream. And when you go on holiday, maybe I'd put on a few, but definitely in the UK, I would not wear any kind of sun cream. And so I've come back now, and there's these like papules, I don't know, like lesions on my chest, like little circles that appeared out on my chest out of nowhere. And I was like, this isn't right. So I went straight to my doctors, and I said to him, could I see a dermatologist? Because I don't feel like this is normal for me. Is there anything you can do? And initially he said the dermatology department they've got a lot of waiting lists, and they don't want to take on cases that aren't like cancerous or more severe. And so the doctor, my general practitioner, he just gave me ointments and creams, just different ones, just to see if they could settle all these lesions that appeared out of nowhere. It was almost like a rash, but loads of little dots, and they were scaly and they were red. And they weren't itchy, but very sensitive at the time. And so the creams did clear it up a little bit, which was good. But then it kept coming back. And I was like, what is going on? I had a few months where it was fine, no problems. And I went back to university to complete my final year. And this must have been, let's think, January times. And I was still on the waiting list to get into the dermatology department, finally got seen by a dermatologist. And I've seen him, and he reckons it's lupus. So when he said lupus straight away, I was like, my heart sunk a little bit, because I knew it was a disease, but I just didn't really know anything of it. And so you hear something and you get a little bit scared. So I said, okay. He goes, what you need to do is come in a few days, and we'll take a biopsy of these papules, lesions that are on your chest. Not a problem. And so I've gone in now. It was quite a good turnaround. Got in, had the biopsy, and during the same time I was taking my first year exam, my final year exams, and I had stitches in my chest, and I was writing essays, and I was pretty uncomfortable, but we got over it. And they've come back and they confirmed that, yeah, your biopsy results are in line with what would you say is lupus. I think my type is, the full name is cutaneous lupus erythematosus. I hope I didn't get that wrong, but that's what they said. And he just explained to me that basically the sunlight is a trigger for this condition. And what lupus is, it's an autoimmune disease, meaning the immune system gets a little bit confused, and it starts to attack its healthy cells. So obviously with the immune system, if you're sick or whatever, it will get rid of the sickness by attacking the unhealthy cells. But with lupus, it gets confused, and it also attacks the healthy cells. So hence why I get inflammation, and inflammation is just the immune system attacking itself and causing these lesions that were on my chest at the time. So he just said to me that sun exposure is something I've got to be really mindful of. And then he said to me, am I in the sun a lot? And I said, yes, I train 6 days a week outside. So I'm always in the sun. He asked me, do I use sunscreen? And I said to him, no, not at all, unless I'm going on holiday. And even then, I want to sunbathe and get that sun on me. And so he said, you've got to be very careful with that. And he just explained that you've got to cover yourself now. So I've got to cover my chest. I wear factor 50 all year round, especially in the summer months, especially when I'm outside. I've got to top it up. It's meant to be every hour, but I could be a bit more vigilant with it, but it happens. And when I'm training outside, especially in the summer, sometimes I'm not able to get shade straight away. So I bring my umbrella with me. So I'm always in the shade. I'm always wearing a hat, again, just to make sure I'm covering my face and everything. So the sun exposure is really a big thing. And it's not just the sun itself, it's the UV rays. And so even indoors, sometimes indoor light can affect it. So I just got to be mindful of how much I'm exposing myself really to the sunlight and to UV rays. So yeah, literally was that. I'm on tablets. It's called hydroxychloroquine I take. During the winter and autumn months, I take a tablet once a day. And because of the summertime, it's a bit more extreme with the sunlight. So I've got to take the tablet twice a day. And then I also take 3 creams. One's for my face and ears, because it's a less potent steroid, and then the other's for my chest. What the creams do, they just reduce the inflammation when a flare-up does occur. And then after a few days, the flare-ups kind of flatten and they turn into scars. And so then you just get like hyperpigmentation and scars on the chest, which I remember initially not that I wasn't too happy about, but it's a change, isn't it? You go from having, because I like to expose my chest sometimes in low cut tops and whatever, and then it goes from being clear to having all these marks in your chest. And it took me not too long, but you just have to get over it and embrace that, okay, this is what it is, and there's worse things that could happen. Again, with lupus, because it is inflammation, it could affect your organs. And so sometimes I've got to go to doctors and just have like kidney scans, just make sure it's not inflammation in other areas. And thankfully, everything's been fine, and I'm just getting inflammation on the surface, not getting it systemically, which would mean that the organs are getting damaged. So lucky for me, I haven't got that. But yeah, in the meantime, it's quite under control now. I take my tablets, I make sure I'm vigilant with my sun protection, using sunscreen, not really in the sun too much. And yeah, that's where I am with it. That's where I am.